Welcome back to Show Me What I've Been Missing, your pop culture podcast that says, hey, remember that thing? That's cool. I'm one of your hosts, Elizabeth Stanton, and with me is my other host,
Chris Mack, what's up, guys?
the wee Lego bunny. Is that your
Yes.
new, our mascot?
I don't know, but I figured there was a lot of Catholic things going on in this episode, and Bunny is Easter, which is very Christian
That's
Catholic.
actually
So,
pagan.
oh shit!
We
Don't say that. Oh shit!
the Catholic and Christian Church done stole it from the pagan folks
Oh, oh,
beforehand. Yeah,
oh shit!
because
Oh,
Easter bunnies are fertile, spring. It's Easter. It's rebirth, etc., etc.
oh, damn.
It's true.
Oh, sorry, Bunny. You
Yep.
gotta go.
Hail Satan. Just kidding. Yeah, this is a very Catholic episode, which is very funny.
Yes.
I'm gonna be able to flex. I was not raised Catholic. I was raised by what are known as lapsed Catholics, which is Catholics who stopped going to church. And also they divorced, so they're super lapsed. But I have some insight into what we saw happen. So
Okay. Yeah, because I don't know. I mean, as far as Catholicism, I'm like very watered down level of knowledge.
It's definitely I'm giving broad strokes and not super in depth, but I know my fair share. So we'll get into it as we go. But where do you want to start with this episode? Sorry, I didn't say the episode title or the premise of the overall show. We jumped ahead like rabbits. Yeah. We are watching Sex and the City from start to finish. I've seen it like way too many times. Chris has seen it hardly at all. And we are on season 5, episode 2, Unoriginal Sin. Baby Brady is getting baptized, and it's it's always a big deal when it happens, and then everybody's wondering about faith and love, etc., etc. So
well, I figured since we kind of already we're talking about Catholicism, let's probably start there, right?
Yeah.
The baby this okay, so this is still technically baptism, right? That's what the Catholics still call it, right?
So yeah, so Steve and Miranda are baby proof in the apartment, and he's like, hey, can we get Brady baptized? It would mean a lot to my mom. And we've never met Steve's mom, so we meet Steve's mom. We'll get there, don't worry. And she's like, well, I don't believe in it. I'm not, and she's not any religion, I don't even know if she's not even like spiritual or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't believe it. So what's the point in doing it if I don't believe it? He's like, what's the point in doing it and not doing it? If you don't, it's no big deal.
Yeah, it's just water on the baby's head.
It's water on the baby's head is no big deal. And the whole concern, which is always the concern, is so for babies in the Catholic Church, you have original sin, you got washed away with being baptized. And if if you're a baby who's not baptized and you should sadly happen to die as a baby, you don't go to heaven or hell, you go to limbo. Although, also for the record, I believe this has changed recently.
Okay.
I don't keep up with the Catholic Church because I'm not Catholic, so I don't know. But this is just from what I remember from my parents and extended family and stuff like that. So, and fun fact, so allegedly, my brother and I were secretly emergency baptized because you can be sort of deputized as a Catholic to do it in an emergency to prevent the baby from going to limbo. Because limbo is like I said, limbo is neither heaven nor hell. So baby's not being tortured or anything bad, but it's also not enjoying heaven. It's just sort of and Steve describes it as flying around with the wings on like the neck, which is very often how limbo is depicted in classic art.
Yeah. When he said that, I was like, yeah, that's actually like a lot of like, especially like because I went to a lot of Catholic churches when I was in Italy, because Catholicism is like the religion.
Yeah.
And like that's how limbo was described. It's like somebody just floating around with just like
your little wings on your little neck,
head, and just wings. Like not even the neck. You don't need a neck. It's just head and wings.
Yeah. So so allegedly by my dad's mom, my brother and I were like secretly emergency baptized because we weren't going to be baptized because neither of my parents wanted to do it and didn't care.
Okay.
So Grandma Stanton may or may not have intervened on one or both. I don't know. I have a feeling it was maybe just my brother, because honestly, second kids, sometimes people just don't care. And I'm the second kid.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, because like Miranda was so against it, like, but I was
Hmm.
kind of like the same way Steve was feeling about it. Like, if you don't believe in it, what's the big deal, right? Because like,
Hmm.
okay, here's my thing, and this is why I was kind of like, what if? You know what I mean? Like, you cannot believe in something, but
Hmm.
what if the motherfuckers are right? Like, what if
Yeah.
it is a real thing? And then like you like, okay, what if like there is a heaven and a hell, right? And we think that it doesn't exist, but then we find out it does. And then you go to heaven and your baby's stuck in limbo. Like, that would make you feel like shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's no way you can enjoy heaven knowing that your baby's just like in limbo because you didn't believe. Now, I don't
Yeah.
know if you'll get to go to heaven if you don't believe, but I'm just saying, like, what, like, the idea to me is like, we can't be so arrogant because just because we don't believe in it doesn't make it not real. You know what I mean? Like, it still could be real. We just don't know because we don't know.
And
You
it's
know what
one
I
of
mean?
those things, like you said too. It doesn't hurt. That's the
No.
that's the big deal.
But
Like,
and yeah, if it finds out he wasn't real, hey, he just got some cool water on his head. Like that's
mhm.
you just clean the baby at
Yeah.
this point,
I
you know.
mean, don't get me
So,
wrong. On the flip side, it's yeah, that all of that is so fraught. It's such a big deal to people. It's, whether they do or don't believe.
right,
Um, it's like a whole thing, but it's also Steve is like it's just kind of tradition. He's just something. It's almost less a spiritual thing for Steve as like it's a tradition thing for Steve.
right,
Like
right.
like I had friends who got married in a Catholic ceremony, and the only reason they did the Catholic ceremony was to please parents. They themselves, I don't think they go to church at all. The kids aren't baptized. The ceremony was like, or maybe they did baptize the kids again, purely to please parents. You know, once eventually one day when no one's around, who they're not gonna be like, guess what you got to do, child? You got to be Catholic now too. It's purely to keep tradition going. Um, and the thing is, like, if I got married, I would not do a religious ceremony because I don't ascribe to anyone, and I would assume my partner wouldn't really either. Now, the friends that got married that were Catholic, they were both
Okay,
raised Catholic.
right.
Not this heathen. One of my favorite things is when I was in elementary school, there were enough, obviously a big enough Catholic population in the area to warrant offering fish on Fridays during Lent in the lunchroom. And so I
Okay.
always chose it because I just really liked fish sticks. And then one time some kid was like, "Hey, what'd you give up for Lent?" And I was like, "What the fuck is Lent?" Because my parents hadn't like explained it to me, and I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Obviously, didn't curse when I was in elementary school, but you get the
Right.
idea. And they're like, "Yeah, you give the thing up for 40 days." I was like, "I just like fish, guys. I don't, I don't care."
I mean, but you know, sometimes though people who do practice in that they sometimes give up some bullshit that they ain't really like crave that much just to like,
Yeah,
you know what I
be like,
mean? I'm
I
like,
gave
"Oh,
up,
fish sticks. Who's like, oh
do
man,
whatever.
fish sticks? Like I gotta like they're eating fish sticks every day. Like who has a fish stick addiction? I
Oh
don't
no,
think.
no, no, no. The fish stick thing is on Friday. You don't eat meat
Oh,
during
gotcha.
Lent when you're Catholic because you get for 40 days you give up something starting on Ash Wednesday after Mardi Gras. Um, no one hate me. I can't remember what the 40 days of Lent like. Is it Lost in the Desert? Whatever you get to, when he rises on Easter, you get to have your whatever again that you were doing.
Yeah, but I'm saying like, oh, okay, I just saying fish stick, but I mean like I know sometimes people like I said they pick something like okay, let's say the fish stick, you know, I'm like
Oh
oh
yeah, if they were like, "Oh my god, I love eating fish
yeah,
sticks," and
like
they're like, "I'm giving it up for Lent," and then
yeah,
it's like,
yeah. How many like when's the last time you ate a fish stick when you were like 7? Stop
yeah.
it.
Or sometimes, yeah, like I'm giving up the same thing I give up every year, like doubting myself.
Right.
You're gonna make the baby Jesus weep with that bullshit.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, so anyway, so Miranda kind of reluctantly agrees, and then we get to meet Steve's mom,
yeah,
who was played by Ann Mira.
yeah.
She's Ben Stiller's mom, married to
Yes,
Jerry Stiller, and
yes,
they used to do like a comedy thing together. And she's Irish Catholic,
that's right.
and part of the routine was like their differences because he's Jewish. And oh, my mom used to tell me there was like some funny thing she did where about the Catholic girls' names. It's like Carrie, Mary, Catherine, Catherine, Mary, all that kind of stuff. So she you know, comedy legend, super cool. I like that Steve's mom is also a redhead.
Yes, I know. You saw my face. I was like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Like
That explains a whole
a
lot.
lot.
Also,
Yeah.
how we get a redheaded baby with Brady, because it's no
Right.
guarantee if you just because you're a redhead,
Right.
you'll have a redhead. My mom was a redhead and had two brunettes.
Right.
So I could have a redheaded baby
You probably will.
if I find a dude who's got the genes. We'll
Yeah,
see.
you probably will. Yeah, no, I was laughing because I love this actress too. She's every time I see her, I just think of heavyweights because she was the captain
Oh yeah,
at the
yeah.
beginning of heavyweights. So I'm just like, yeah. Oh, that and Billy Madison because she was the weird sloppy Joe lady when
I
but
don't think that's her
that's
actually.
her. I'm telling you. Maybe
Nah,
I'm wrong.
I
I
think
think
you're
it's her
wrong.
though. I might be wrong. I could be wrong.
I believe you're wrong,
I
my
know she was
friend.
definitely in heavyweights. I know she was definitely in heavyweights.
She's definitely in heavyweights because Jerry
Because his
Stiller's in
mom,
heavyweights.
Ben Stiller's mom and dad
His
played
parents
the camp
are the
counselors. Yeah,
former camp owners.
yeah, that's for sure. Am I wrong? I think I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong.
I think you're wrong, my friend.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. I could have sworn that's her, the weird sloppy Joe lady.
Mm,
They're probably gonna bring her up.
sorry, it's not her.
Nah.
Nope.
What's her name?
Ann Mira?
No, the
No,
lady,
or the Sloppy Joe
the
lady. I don't know.
sloppy Joe lady.
I don't know the Sloppy Joe lady. But anyway.
Man, I could have sworn that was her. Fair enough. Fair
um
enough.
so yeah, so I just it so explains a lot about Steve
Yeah.
with his
His
mom being a
mom is
redhead.
his mom is a hoot, man. She
I love her
talk
because
about
she's
laying on the Catholic guilt. She was laying it on
yeah.
thick before they got. Oh, you didn't bring the baby. I really wanted to meet him. I never got to meet him. I mean,
Yeah.
he gave me this picture. I had it Xerox. Like it wasn't even like a true photo either. Like it was silly,
Yeah.
like something that she like printed off the internet or something like that. Like
Which
it
is
wasn't.
wild because this was a time where you could still like people are still doing like wallet prints. It's like
Yeah,
not that hard to
yeah,
do.
yeah.
Um
Well, and that's so true because like also so to me, it seemed like also too, because I'm like, Miranda's been kind of shitty about this because if you're telling me that like she only gave Steve one picture of the baby and he had to go get it like copied for his mom to
yeah.
copy, like, dude, this is his kid too. Like, can you, stop being such a bitch right now? Like, what do you like?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, because I kind of feel like it's one of those things where like because she's not so excited to be a mom that like his excitement is kind of making her feel bad, so she's like trying to like you know only give him so much so she doesn't feel bad. But it's like this is not about you, man. It's about the baby and his father wanted to celebrate. Like just because you don't
Yeah.
have the excitement doesn't make you a bad person either. Like it is what it is, but you're still taking care of the kid, so like let him enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know
Like
what I mean? Give him a picture, more
yeah,
than
give it
one
a
picture.
couple pictures. Goddamn.
You know what I mean?
um well yeah, yeah, and also I love Steve's mom really laying on the Catholic guilt. This is so dark and it glides right by. She's like, we really want the christening because God forbid my oldest son, he had a baby 2 weeks old, died, and I was like, holy shit, that's so fucked
I
up.
mean, come on,
I was
like.
like, that's so sad. Oh my god.
I
But
mean,
and
but
then she
it also was kind of sweet because it was like that's why she cares so much that the baby
yeah,
is baptized because like yeah, I mean honestly, if that were to happen to you, you would probably be very much into having this make sure this gets done just in case, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Well, PTSD
But
action.
but then they slide it in so weird. She like immediately like whiplashes over to like uh she mentions the brother's wife, and she's like, she's black and not very friendly. I don't think she likes me.
She thinks I have a problem with her, but
She
I
thinks
don't.
I have a problem with her.
No, I what the thing is too is like I don't think that she thinks that she has a problem with it. It's just that black women don't really respond to like guilt like that. Like if we date,
Yeah.
black women don't like we don't fuck with like Jewish mom guilt. We don't fuck with Catholic guilt. We don't fuck with none of that guilt. Like don't try like African mom drip. Like no guilt. Don't lay
Yeah.
that shit on me. We gonna do our thing, and you can be here as long as you are okay with how we gonna run this shit. Like black moms just don't fuck with like mothers in laws. You know,
Yeah.
trying to implement themselves, and they always they like to they put their foot down real quickly, you know what I mean, when it comes to
Yeah, they're good. They're like good with boundaries like that because yeah, you will get the like, oh, but you should really be doing this, or it'd be great if you could do the, it means so much. It's like, no.
Yeah. No, that's not how I do it, but thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for the advice, but we're gonna do it our way.
Under
Appreciate it.
advisement, but probably not.
Yeah. That's probably really what it is. Like the mom ain't, or
I know.
the wife ain't really like hating on her and like that. It's just like she's just as people like that. When you do assert boundaries, they think like you don't like them because you
Yeah.
tell them to step off from time to time, and they're not used to hearing that because they're used to being the overbearing one. Like I mean, you see how Steve is.
Yep.
Like as soon as the mom got out of the car, he was like slunched over. Like he was barely like he was even in the scene, other than like the fact that we just saw him there. But
Yeah.
if that scene was like shot from a different angle, he wouldn't even fucking know.
And then they're about to go in, and she's like, "Well, maybe don't mention to the priest that you're not married." And
Mm.
I forget what triggers her. I think Miranda just kind of like scoffs at it, and then they immediately get into the church, and the first thing she says to the priest is like, "They're not getting
Oh,
married."
it was Steve was like, I'm not gonna lie to the priest, mom.
Oh
Like,
yeah, we're not gonna lie to the
yeah.
priest. Yeah,
And so she just like blurted it out because I
yeah.
guess she wanted to be in
Like
control
I
of
guess we're not. I guess we'll just say whatever. That guilt.
yeah.
Yeah, total guilt.
Yeah,
Like I
basically,
guess we'll just, you
yeah.
know. Guess we'll just I guess we'll just say whatever. And then I love Miranda going through the traditional like christening. I think it's liturgy, I'm not sure the word, but
Yeah.
the prayer you do, like, do you renounce Satan and do you do this, da 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 da, and she's like striking out the shit she doesn't want read,
Okay.
which hilariously most of it is like, don't mention Satan, and Steve has to go, she's not pro Satan, she just
Right.
doesn't believe in like this part of it, which it was really funny to me.
Well, I mean, to be honest, like if I was a priest and some woman is in there saying like, "Oh, don't mention Satan, don't bring it up," like, "Oh, cut this out," like, don't even say devil,
Yeah.
like nothing even close to mentioning the devil. Like, I might be like, "Is she an enthusiast?"
Yeah.
Like,
Go
but
get your baby christened at the or
yeah,
anti-christened, as it were, at the Church of Satan.
I also think like that's a little. That's my thing too. It's like this is very much a Miranda thing. She's a very much a control freak when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to shit because it's like, why are you doing all this? Like, why you have to like take out the whole prayer
Because
and
let
like.
me tell you, if there's one thing they don't let you do, it's change up the wording of shit in like a
Right.
Catholic
Like I
church.
mean, like that christening ceremony, not to jump ahead, but it was probably like at least 10,
Wait.
15 minutes short.
Yeah.
You know what
Well,
I
you
mean?
don't mess with the wording because I just saw this and I sent it to, I think, big chunks of my family. There was, I think, a priest in Arizona or something like that.
Huh.
Anyway, he said the christening prayer like ever so slightly wrong. He changed a word from like your to our or something real simple like that.
Mhm.
And like hundreds of baptisms were declared ineligible
Oh
because
shit.
the wording change.
Wow. I
So
mean,
it's
that
extra
might be a
wild
little,
that
yeah.
Miranda's like trying to strike through all
That,
this shit
that's a little
in the
wild.
prayer. It's like, that's, you can't do it.
Wow.
There's
Holy shit. That's
Catholics love them rules, man.
yes, it is. That I know. I don't know much about Catholicism, but I know they love the rules. That's for damn.
They love a ceremony and
Yeah.
a whole like to do and performance and everything.
Yeah.
But things do change, which this has always killed me. So I forget. I obviously don't go to church a lot, but I've been to a few times, especially more with my grandpa on my dad's side. We go for certain things, and there's I forget at some point during the usual Sunday mass, you like turn and like shake hands with the people around you. You usually say peace be with you and
Hmm.
also with you
Yeah.
as you're like shaking hands and saying hi to folks or whatever. And recently they apparently changed the wording and I
Mm-hmm.
don't remember what it is because I'll be goddamn if I'm gonna stop saying peace be with you. I like that.
Great. So yeah,
It's
well,
it's
what's
nice.
wrong with it?
And it also works with the Star Wars jokes where people say, "May the Force be with you," and you can say, "and also with you." It works so much better. I can't. Again, I cannot remember what they changed it to, and frankly, I don't care. I'm gonna just keep saying "peace be with you" if I'm in a
I
Catholic
mean,
church
yeah, I mean, it's
and
not
I
like
get to
the
that point.
yeah, it's not like the sentiment changes. I mean,
Yeah,
whatever they change it to is somewhat similar to what it was before, anyway. So
yeah, but they love the rules because like I never did catechism, so I never did first communion or confirmation or any of those things. So when you don't do that, you can't do the wafer and wine with
okay.
the during the ceremony. So if you do go up, you can get a priest blessing, but you're supposed to cross your arms,
Uh,
like Well, if you're only listening to the audio, looks like I'm doing Wakanda Forever. I'm not. I am doing the polite turn down for don't give me communion, wafers, and wine.
Oh
And
my!
that's not the worst joke I've heard made about that, because my
No, 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 they're not a bad joke. It's just that the fact that
stupid.
unfortunately you kind of have to put that disclaimer on shit because somebody might see that and be like, "Look at this white woman pretending,"
Yeah.
even though like they're not even watching the episode and like hearing what the fuck, like they just see like that'd be like the thumbnail of you doing this. They're
Hi.
like, "What?"
Yeah.
That's just a thumbnail that fucking YouTube chooses, and all of a sudden you're canceled. Oh
Well,
shit.
at the first Catholic friends, I've been to like several of these Catholic friends weddings. I That's where I learned, because usually when I was with my grandpa or family, I just wouldn't like go up, but because I was part of obviously the wedding party, you had
Yeah.
to go up and get like a little blessing from the priest or whatever. So you cross your arms like that when you turn it down. And my one friend was like, "So we're doing this wedding X-Man style."
Can't do
Also,
that.
the different that same girl, so the priest holds his hand up while he's blessing you, and you're supposed to just like nod or whatever. She didn't know, so she like basically high-fived him without meaning to. I was like,
Nice.
you're not supposed to
That'd
do
be me. I'd be like, "Oh, what up top, bro? For
that. Be
Jesus,
like, oh, what up?
for Jesus, my guy."
I won't leave you hanging.
Yeah.
I
Everybody else
won't
is
leave you. I
dying
won't
their
leave
heads.
you hanging,
Rude.
Padre.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. It's like everybody else is dying their heads. Rude, bro. Gotta slap fives with that brand right there.
um, yeah, so that always cracks me up, because yeah, I used to just not go when I was a kid. And then I will say, this is funny, a different friend's Catholic ceremony, there was one girl in the group who went to a very like uh not non-denominational, but it was like, I don't remember what denomination, but it was way more like closer to like Baptist or whatever. She was
Mhm.
like so weirded out by all the ceremony stuff because it's so different, like.
Yeah.
And she was like, "What is this?" I was like, "I want to be like, they're going to convert you, Laura." Like, just
I
being
mean,
a dick about it.
to be honest, I've seen a few Catholic ceremonies. I mean, it's very like ceremonial. Like it very feels like you're about to get indoctrinated into something. Like almost every piece of
Yeah.
even and I'm talking about just like Sunday service itself. Like I've been to
Mhm.
that, and it's just like, am I in the group? Like, did I just join am I here? Like, 'cause you gotta like
My
stand and you gotta
brother
kneel,
compared
and
it
there's
to
like
like
somebody coming
Star.
by with incense, and then you get fucking, it's like it's like very ritualistic. You know what I mean?
My
Like
brother compared it to like Star Wars, because he got hats and costumes and like, yeah,
crazy.
people
Yeah, it's
walking
wild.
down aisles and shit. It's great.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
I don't I believe in it, but I'm like, I do like the kind of like ceremonial BS of it all. It's kind of fun. But
yeah.
then I also like admire other churches with like either choirs or like call and response stuff. I'm like, that's cool too. Whatever gets you feeling it is nice.
Yeah.
So
Well, Miranda was clearly not feeling this because she took
yeah.
out about 80. She like redacted everything. She's like
Rejected
very
everything.
lawyer.
And I
She's
guess,
like very lawyer. She's like, we don't want this. Definitely that this is accusing my client of this.
yeah, and and I can't figure out, like, they make kind of mention that the priest is cool with it, because
Yeah.
they like I make Carrie's narration kind of makes it sound like they need the numbers.
Well, I mean, isn't this kind of the time where like the rise in like
I think this
the
was right around
rumors?
when all those stories, like the stories of the pedophilia within the
Right.
church
Because
were.
this is like, I mean, what's that movie that it's about the writers that exposed it?
Oh, Spotlight.
Spotlight. Yeah,
Yeah,
wasn't this
yeah.
around the time where those articles were like they were
I
starting to like build that
I think
article?
so. I Because this is
Yeah.
like early 2000s, and yeah, that's about. I As I was making that note, I was like, oh wait, is this like about right the time when everyone was like, oh wait,
Yeah, that's
oh
what. Yeah, I
no,
think
and
this is when,
they.
like the people who like when that article that inspired the movie was starting to like
Yeah,
make waves in the Catholic community because like all these stories were coming out and it was like like it was like a whole
yeah,
like month of columns about like different stories coming out of people and experiences and shit. It was wild. So
yeah.
yeah, I think this is right around the time where the Catholic Church was hurting pretty bad.
Yeah.
You
Oh, and
know.
also we forgot to mention that Steve's mom was apparently had a couple beers before she got to this christening.
Yeah, she did.
Or
Hell
not the
yeah.
christening, but the meeting with the priest about
Meeting
the
with the
christening.
priest. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, she
Yeah, yeah.
definitely. she probably had it for both. To be honest, she probably had a couple
Yeah,
before both.
oh, for sure. Oh well,
Yeah.
I mean, say what you will. Uh, I'm assuming Steve's family is Irishish or maybe Italian or whatever,
No, I
but
think it's Irish. I think they're Irish.
Catholics know how to
Yeah.
throw a party, bro.
Yeah.
We like ain't no party like a Catholic party. I mean, you got to feel guilty as hell about it when you're done, but when you're partying, it's a good time. Hey,
Yeah, but his last name is Brady, right? That has to be Irish, right?
yeah, man.
I mean, that doesn't sound very Italian.
No, not Italian. No, but yeah, Brady's like the
Brady's
Irish.
probably like
Yeah,
Scottish, Italian, something or not Italian, Scottish, Irish.
yeah. It's in the Isles. It's in the Isles. um, what do you call it? So the next day, like Miranda and Carrie are shopping for the christening gown for Brady, and Carrie, and we'll get to Carrie's little thing, whatever about pessimism, autism. Who cares? But Miranda asks Carrie to be the godmother,
Yeah,
and she's like,
surprisingly.
"I don't know about that."
Yeah, I was surprised about that honestly because, you know, yes, they're best friends, and it
Mm-hmm.
makes sense in that regard. But I mean, Charlotte has been, I mean, the biggest supporter of this entire. I mean, from day one, like before even Miranda was knowing if she was going to keep the baby or not. Like
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte was there, so I'm very surprised that she didn't pick her as the godmother. That's
But
very interesting.
I get it because it's like yeah, in theory it's Miranda is, as much as I think Miranda likes Charlotte as a friend, obviously, and everything like
Yeah.
that, she Carrie is more on Miranda's wavelength with things.
But see, that's where I think but this is why I think as somebody, I mean, because yes, they kind of mentioned that like basically because they're on the same wavelength, that's why she wanted it there. But I'm like, I don't think that's the right choice for your baby, right? Because the whole thing, the ultimate thing about being a godparent is right, like Lord forbid something happens to their parents, both
Mm-hmm.
parents, that baby goes to the godparent or godmother, right?
In
And
theory.
to be honest, yeah, in theory, right? But to me, it's like, okay, then Charlotte's definitely the best choice. She definitely has a better, brighter future. She definitely is more
Mm-hmm.
financially stable, and she has maternal instincts to raise the baby.
Yeah.
Carrie is none of those
Carrie's
things.
gonna be like, "What's this?" Ah,
Right.
you know.
Like if Miranda and Steve were to get in a car accident the next day, that baby would be fucked as far as like godparent goes, because Carrie can barely
Mm-hmm.
take care of herself right now.
Well, yeah, but we should point out godparent is not a legally binding thing
No, it's not. No, it's
as
not.
far as like
Right.
who the baby goes to. Like generally,
Sure.
very often that's what people do, and that's a
But
nice
to be
thing.
fair, if it's Miranda, you know she wrote a fucking document and had it
Absolutely,
notarized and shit
but
like that. So it probably would be a legal document.
yeah. But here's the funny thing about godparents, actually, this stuck out to me. So I think generally you need to be. Certainly, I think with a Catholic one, you I think are supposed to be Catholic for sure.
Right.
Carrie is not. I'm assuming Steve's
And
cousin.
Charlotte is that right? Or
No, Charlotte's a Protestant.
oh,
I think they say Episcopalian at different points in the show, which
okay,
is
okay.
the that's the P in WASP, the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. It's the P.
Okay.
But I only bring it up because so my uncle here in California, my younger cousin got baptized when she was much older. When my uncle was kind of, I think, aunt and uncle were maybe thinking like, oh, we might send her like Catholic school or whatever. It makes her life easier if she's baptized. And so she did her baptism and stuff when she was like 8 or 9 or something like that. But my uncle wanted his two surviving sisters, rest in peace, Aunt Patty. But he wanted my two aunts to be the godparents because part of it is meant to be less like, hey, if I die, you take over like legal guardianship, and it is supposed to be the spiritual guidance of the child.
I see.
And this particular parish that they were doing the baptism at was like, you can't have two women be godparents. So and as much as it like my uncle's like, I kind of consider them that, and it's like not like it wasn't even that they were a couple, it's just they're sisters, but it was nope, it's man and woman. And so my uncle picked my aunt and then her husband, who are both practicing Catholics. And then they, like, because they couldn't make it from Michigan, they had another couple that was also Catholic stand in proxy. so
Well, I
com-
mean,
so complicated. But I I'm surprised that a Los Angeles Catholic church was very like, oh no, you can't have two ladies be.
I think. Well, I mean, because if we're going off, I mean, I think if you're looking at it with the premise that like you know, in the traditional sense that like if something were to happen to the parents, the child would have to go somewhere. You can't have two sisters because then you have to figure out who's going to.
Which sister, yeah,
Yeah, you know
she
what I
goes
mean.
to,
Like
etc.
it would get complicated. It's like who's going to take care of who, or who's going to take the baby or
Yeah,
child.
yeah.
And so I think that's probably was more of what the situation was than like.
Not the vibe. That's actually not the vibe that I got from
I'm
the
trying to keep the
conversations.
olive branch. I'm playing devil's advocate here. I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to put options in the.
Nah,
That's all I'm doing.
I think this was some
You're probably right. You're probably
heteronormative
gonna,
BS.
no. I'm not gonna dispute that. You're probably right, but I'm just throwing it out there. You know, add a
Yeah.
little another branch to the tree. You know.
And for what it's worth, both aunts are straight. They're both married to men. I mean, it's not like they're two like lesbian aunts. It was
I
silly.
I
Uh,
I don't know. Yeah.
it was a nice thought on my uncle's part because he was like, because he's not a super practicing Catholic or anything. He's confirmed and everything, but it's been years since he's been, and he was kind of going for a while again. Kind of around the time we lost my grandpa and stuff like that, it kind of rekindled things, and then he stopped going again. And my cousin never got confirmed, and now we're all going to hell.
Well,
Probably, I don't know.
and that's another thing too. I wonder because with as far as what I can tell in this episode, right? The godparents are both single people, so usually godparents are couples. That's usually the traditional is like
Often, yeah, yeah,
couple. So like it was actually kind of weird that Carrie was you made godmother, and then Steve's cousin was made godfather, and
yeah,
like they're not related in any way, or they're
yeah.
not gonna like get together in any way. So it's like
Although the cousin very much wanted to be like, wouldn't it be great if we got
sure,
together?
sure, sure,
And I
sure.
love when like Carrie's holding the baby and Charlotte's taking the picture, all supportive, which is very sweet. Um, and then then the Godfather guy like tried to pose with Carrie like they were like a couple with the baby, and like Charlotte's making a face, and Carrie's like, oh my god, it's so weird. That guy was
Yeah, he was like it wasn't really creepy. It was just
it was cringy.
it wasn't creepy. It was kind of pathetic the way he was trying to
Yeah,
do it. That's really what it was. Like it wasn't really. It was kind of sad. It was like, oh, he's
yeah,
trying, like, because you could in his face, you could tell he genuinely thought he was like this clever, cool guy, and
yeah,
like clearly nobody's ever told him was like you ain't that cool, my guy. Like,
yeah, yeah,
you know what I mean? So that's
yeah.
why it wasn't really creepy. It was just kind of sad. It's like, oh, no one told
Like,
you that
oh, bud.
you're kind. Oh no one's ever told you the truth. Okay, sorry, guy. It's okay.
Sorry, bruh. No
Yeah.
dice.
Okay.
And then I laughed super hard post thing. They're having the cake, which is part of what sold Carrie on being a godmother in the first place, was getting one of those kick-ass sheet cakes with the buttercream frosting. Nothing better than like a grocery store sheet cake. Oh my god, they're good.
Let me tell
I
you
don't
something. It hits, all right. It
I
hits
don't
every
care. Yeah.
it hits every time. Every
I've
time.
had like like amazing chocolate cakes at like fancy restaurants or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, it's good.
It's cool. It's fine.
Nothing better than a fucking buttercream from a Ralph's or Vaughn's or sometimes the cheaper the store, the better, because it
Yeah.
is just packed with sugar and butter. And oh god, it's so good.
Yeah.
Whew, want one right now.
And
Uh,
honestly, like I know sometimes people hate that icing because it tastes a little waxy, but I kind of fuck with it. It kind of brings memories and some, like good memories of like being a kid. You know what I mean? Like, that was like
whenever,
every kid's birthday
yeah,
had that cake. Everybody got grocery store cake. Nobody had like I even grew up around rich people, and they still brought the cake from the grocery store. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like it was never nobody brought in no gourmet shit.
No, I have super fond memories of going to, for years, the cheaper grocery store near my house and going up to the bakery counter for my birthday. It's like, what do you want to do? I was like, dinosaur themed cake, please. And it's all sugary and good. And your tongue gets dyed 3 colors. It's great.
Fantastic. I love it.
And then I do love Steve's mom, when they're having the cake, and she's like, "Isn't this the most beautiful goddamn Catholic you've ever seen?" It's like right in front of the priest. Classic shit. So
she's
good.
like, she's like, oh, I'm sorry. She's like, I'm sorry, father, but he's a cute little fucker.
Yeah, it's so perfect. It's so like, yes, that is It's my people, man. That's what.
You know
Yeah.
what? You know what? You know what's? But you know what though? Here's the. I always gotta. It's like that little part would be like probably get this show canceled because technically that actress is. Wait, is she like Jewish leaning? Right?
No. Ann Mira is Irish Catholic.
She's Irish Catholic. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
but she married a Jewish man, right?
She married a Jewish guy. Yeah.
Okay. So I was like, I feel like they would be probably coming for her, like, isn't she Jewish? She's
No,
big.
actually, you know what is mildly controversial that I've seen is people point out a lot of times actors who are playing Jewish characters that are very like super supposed to be super Jewish, like it's a big part of the character's identity, are often played by non-Jewish actors. The biggest one right now is the marvelous Mrs. Maisel. The actress playing Mrs. Maisel is Rachel Brosnahan.
Uh-huh.
And doesn't that last name sound a lot like Pierce Brosnan? They're like distantly.
Yeah.
I listened to some interview and they're like distantly related. And like
Ah,
she looks a little like me, man. She's Irish as fuck.
interesting.
Yeah. So what do you call it? So people have kind of rightfully pointed out it's a little. It's I'm not one to say what level of like discomfort people have with it, but I get like if it's in Mrs. Maisel, it's a big part of the identity of the character is being a member of the Jewish community in New York. You know, I think semi-practicing Jew within the show and everything like that. And I get the discomfort people might have, like, well, yeah, but she's not Jewish, you know.
Right. Who knows?
Yeah. It's not like as bad as like a blackface or something, but like
Right,
it's not
right.
good either.
No, yeah. People just don't. They ain't hitting on it that hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's levels to it, and it's
Right.
so
I feel you.
yeah.
Okay.
Incidentally, go Halle Bailey as the new Little Mermaid.
Yeah, people are having a field day with
People
that.
are flipping the
TikTok
fuck
is
out.
blowing up. Oh my goodness.
People are fucking dumb.
That's a whole other podcast we can do.
Whole
right
other
there.
podcast.
We can
Like
do
I'm not as look. Am I into the Disney like live action remakes? Not really. They haven't been that great so far. But far be it from me to be like, oh fuck that. You know, like.
Oh, I did see somebody leaked. There's a video of a leaked footage from this live action.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good. At least holds up to, like as far as like holding it like to like looking like the original animation of it. Like it at least holds up that much.
Yeah, I think people are criticizing the look of it. I think you gotta wait till like people. I do think the lighting is not great. She is a gorgeous girl, Halle Bailey, and like I feel like the lighting in the clip I have seen doesn't do her justice.
They're trying to do a little too like
realistic.
Like you know, if you think about it, the ocean is very dark.
Yeah.
So I think they're trying to like play a little too much realism with like how dark the ocean is underneath. But it's like, yeah, it's a movie. Take it easy.
I'd rather see her
some lights in there.
I'd rather see her lit beautifully,
right,
and celebrated that way. Because, like, again, just fucking gorgeous girl. Like, they like the first time I saw a picture of her, and they're like, "That's gonna be who Ariel is." I was like, "Did they make her in a factory? She's beautiful. What the fuck?" Like, I could, and her sister as well. Like, and she could sing like crazy. I was like, "Oh yeah, hell yeah, I'd steal that voice. Fuck." Like,
all right, yeah, it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna at least at the end of the day, like. It made that because again, I'm with you too. Like the live actions, you know, haven't been like that incredible. Like the Lion King was awful, but like you know, Beauty and the Beast was okay. I'll take that. Beauty and the Beast is
all right. I kind of like Cinderella.
As the first, as the first outing, it was good. Yeah, Beauty and the Beast was good. After that, it's kind of been lacking, hit and miss. Lacking, you know what I mean?
But yeah, like you said, whole other podcast. So let's get back to our show. Yeah. Who do you want to talk about next? Samantha, Carrie, or Charlotte? Maybe Samantha?
I kind of want to say that for last because it's kind of the juiciest story, but like, yeah, let's say her for last because like Carrie's story is a little bit like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And Carrie and Charlotte kind of are almost super intertwined.
Yeah. That's why I kind of want to save Samantha for last because it's
funny.
It's a juicy topic.
So Carrie is struggling with her column. She's in like a dating drought and like struggling with what to write about, and she's talking to the girls about it. and they're like, no, I read your column, it's cute. Shout out to Samantha for being like, I did not get to it, I don't read every column.
I'm telling you, I literally wrote that down. I was like,
all respect.
It's the realest one here. She's like, I didn't read that shit. I ain't got time.
I ain't got time.
I mean, to be fair, okay, if she's sitting there saying that if the writer themselves are being like, man, my articles have been trash lately, why that you can't get mad at me if I don't want to read that shit. Yeah. Like you wrote a whole article about comparing men to French fries, bitch. I ain't reading that shit.
Yeah.
You better sell that to the Onion and shut the fuck up. I ain't out there because she kind of turned her face a little bit at Samantha, but then like you could tell she kind of appreciated the honesty. She was like,
right, like
yeah, you're right. No, it's trash.
Right. This is trash. Yeah. And look, I mean, does my family like support me? Yeah, but like, no, they don't all have cable, so they don't. No one's watching the episode on the reg. I had to like pull because when I was at my brother's off and on, I pulled up some episodes for him to watch of the show I work on, and he just doesn't have the trick down Hulu, doesn't have cable, so like doesn't have the channel, so he couldn't even like tune in nightly if he wanted to.
Oh really?
So I had to be because I do have it, and I could be like, this is what the episode looks like, and yeah, and even when I worked at a slightly more well-known show for several years, family wasn't watching it every night, and it was a nightly show as well. It's like people got lives, man. Like
yeah, man.
It's harder when you are doing like a non-scripted newsy show like I've worked in most of my career. Like it's hard to it's easier to watch a 2-hour movie or a once a week episode than it is like a nightly thing. So I've never been like, I can't believe they don't watch it every night.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that'd be like, that's how I feel too. Like if I ever got on a TV show, it's like at least just watch the pilot. After that, I don't know what you do. Just like give us the views to keep us going. You know what I mean? Like because it's everything is anchored by the pilot. If the pilot has a bunch of views, then you're probably gonna get at least one season. Just watch the pilot. After that, I don't give a fuck what you do. You know what I mean? Just make sure you go online and maybe say some.
I don't care if you turn it on and walk out of the room for all I care.
Yeah. Seriously, yeah. Seriously.
If you got shit to do, just throw it on while you're doing it in another room. Get the view on it, and I'm good. I don't give a shit.
I'm good. I'm good.
Sometimes I don't even want your feedback, frankly. Like sometimes I I took classes at Second City several years ago for pilot writing, and I finished a pilot. It's not the best by any means, but the last part, the final like exam sort of was doing a live table read basically of it with you part of the assignment was you get find people, audition them, and have them read the script, and then for like a little audience. And so I had one friend make it out because people weren't able to make it out or whatever, but then she and I was very proud. I was like, wow, I finished a pilot that's hard, it's a lot of work, they're not easy to do, blah blah blah, and I was all proud. And then I was having dinner with her afterwards. She's like, you should have done this and this and this, and I was like,
like I was like unsolicited advice is always just like ugh. Like I even felt that way today. I was in the gym and I like told somebody like give them a little advice on working out, but I wasn't like, hey, you should. I was just like, hey, just maybe something you want to try if it's not but still I'm like, I know I came over here without you asking, so let me just like politely be like, if you want to try this, not like, because the people that come with this unsolicited advice always say should, and you're like, okay, first of all, should
out of here.
You should get the fuck out of my face.
Or we both done stand up, and I'm sure you have friends. Like I have friends who have very kindly come to a lot of shows, but it's without like your own audience that you're slowly building. It's very hard to ask people to continually come to a stand up show and shell out a 2-drink minimum or like a drink and a dinner. Like it's a lot to ask of people,
especially in
LA. So like I am forever appreciative of the friends who have come out, and brace yourselves because I want to start again, and you're probably gonna have to come to some more in the future. Sorry.
Also friends that come, you can't just come to one show and think that you're good for the rest of the time I'm doing stand-up. No, you gotta come to more than
space them out.
You know what I'm saying? Because like people will always, it's always, especially like at the beginning when you first start trying to do stand-up, you come to like your first, one bookings, and you might bomb your dick off, but they're like, I got that one out the way. I don't ever got to come in. Yes, you do. Always support your local artist friends. Always, people. Always support.
Always. I do. I will say, I think my family's too supportive of my stand-up ambitions. Because it's awkward because they're like, why don't you do jokes about like your family and stuff? I was like, because you guys want to fucking come to that shit and watch it.
That's time to do it. So they know who the culprit comes from. It's like, hey, that's my muse right there. My mom, how you doing?
My mom came to a couple when she was here. I made her sit in the back dark corner of the house so that I could not see her because I was like, I do not want to. And for the record, I don't do like my material is not really blue or anything like that. It's not like I'm like, yeah, you know how I'm sucking dicks all the time, like nothing like that. It's material you could take to your mom, but I still made her sit in the back because I didn't want to make eye contact with her. If you're only listening to the audio, Chris is about to spit out his water because I made the dick sucking joke.
Can't say shit like that as I'm chugging like in a whole mouthful.
I did. I was like,
almost killed me. That was attempted murder. I could have you charged, madam. I could have you charged.
Call my lawyer, Miranda Hobbs. Anyway, so yeah, they're like not as interested in Carrie's article as they're lying about. Yeah. And she's worried though about losing her job because her editor has been trying to call her and she's been dodging his calls. She's like, he never calls me. I'm like, if I were her editor, I'd be calling her all the time and be like, what the fuck is this?
I mean, here's the thing, but the thing is like, her shit be selling though. People be reading that shit.
Yeah, apparently.
I mean, I don't know about like recently, but as far as like,
in this era.
Yeah, in this era, like a time, she's been at this job for quite a while, so somebody's reading that shit. So they ain't fired her yet. It might be lackluster right now, but somebody's fucking with it.
Yeah. So Charlotte offers to go looking for men with Carrie, and then she's kind of like, I don't know, but then she's like, oh, for the sake of the column, let's do it, So they go and they're like at a cafe, and
just one quick note. I love that Carrie is in them and like is like she's like desperate to find subjects for her article, yet she still has enough arrogance to be like, I don't want to do that. I'm a You wrote an article comparing men to French fries, bitch. Go and check out men with your friend,
and you're about to do one about men in socks. So
go check out men with your friend. You have no other choice. Your back is against the wall.
Yeah,
they're closing in on you. Go do some shit.
We'll get into it more, but they keep talking about like pessimism, optimism with like love. I'm like, how about not being a fucking arrogant dummy? Like that might be hindering you in the finding a date department.
Bro, it's because here's the thing. Unfortunately, it's like, yes, this is a show, but like there are people like that do exist that like somehow it always works out for them. It just, I mean, like look at this episode, right? Like it just somehow worked out for her. You know what I mean? Like she thought she was getting fired, and all of a sudden, big opportunity. Like some people like they're arrogant like that because somehow life just blesses them with a little olive branch, and they just hop on that one and then lays about until the next one comes along. Like somehow it keeps happening for them. And like
meanwhile, people have the summer I've had,
right?
And it just keeps getting worse.
Kicking you while you're down. They're like,
And I appreciate everyone who's been like, things are going to turn around for you. It has to. And I'm like, yeah, maybe.
Could it happen right now, though?
but I could also get hit by a fucking bus at this rate. I don't know. It's not looking great.
Listen, it might be a blessing in disguise. If it takes you out, hey, your troubles are over.
Oh my God, I'll be so thin by the time I wake up out of my coma. Just kidding, that's terrible. I'm joking. But no, so they played the like watching guys go by out of, and then like saying how many they'd sleep with out of like the 100 that they watch go by. Right. I've never done that with anyone.
I was gonna ask, is like that a real thing that women have done? Because I don't feel like it's something that women like maybe because like that to me that's a very
teenager thing.
Yeah, it seems like a very like a male like testosterone driven game where we like. And I'm saying like we would do, but I'm just like comparing women that we would like have sex with as they walk by. That seems like a very male thing.
I feel like I haven't played a game like that, but I will say more so when you're a teenager. I think
Okay.
I feel like I think girls do like I basically it's like fortune telling, like you do Mash or whatever, that game
Oh
Mash.
man.
Where
Oh,
mansion,
man.
apartment, shack, or house, and
Ash.
then you like do this and then you list like through a couple different things, like how many kids you're gonna have, which like celebrity you want to do, whatever, and then you like I for sometimes it's like a spiral and you say like stop doing the spiral, and then you count and count. I forget exactly how you get, but then you get whatever, like you're gonna live in a shack with Chris Evans and 14 children, and you're gonna be an architect or whatever, like that thing. So maybe
That was some things.
or the cootie catcher thing, where you do like pick a
Oh
number, pick a
boy.
color. It's like, oh my god, you're gonna marry like Dave from class. That's all this felt like.
Yeah.
And then so Charlotte asks Carrie also to come to this like seminar about affirmations that she's going to, and then a guy comes by and it's Carrie's editor, and Carrie's like flailing to explain, like, I'm trying to write a not shit column, I promise. And he's like, and even he's pissed off. He's like, an editor, a
Yeah.
publisher has been trying to get a hold of you, by the way. That's why I'm calling you.
Right.
He's like one word away from being like, you lucky bitch. Like
I mean, it kind of was because like you could tell that he ain't been filling her articles and shit like that either.
yeah.
You know, but oh, by the way, that actor he was in Hitch, another New
Oh,
York. Yeah.
all comes.
He wasn't like a main character. He was like in one scene. Remember the speed dating scene when he comes in?
No,
You don't remember that scene?
no, it's been a while since I've seen Hitch. I was lost my
It's like
time.
the very end of the movie, like when when Will Smith comes in to confront Eva Mendes about the article that she wrote about him, like
Mm-hmm.
putting him out there as like a pimp instead of a date doctor, and
Yeah.
he's like one of the attendees of the speed dating. He's like, "Don't I know you?
Mm.
Aren't you the guy, the date doctor guy?" Yeah, I mean, honestly, I only remember that because I've seen the movie so many times. It's my favorite rom com of all time. So it was happy for me when I saw. I enjoyed seeing. I was like, hey, that's the guy from Hitch. That's one small guy, one small part from Hitch. Anyway, I'm just
Well,
gonna shut up now.
sorry.
It's no, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Fine. Fine.
I'm
Fine. Fine. Fine.
sorry.
Fine. Totally
I'm
fine.
sorry,
Totally fine.
Chris.
Totally fine. Totally fine.
Um, so Carrie gets drinks with the publishers, who are played by Amy Sedaris and Molly Shannon. I've
Yes.
seen them.
Even more excited when I saw those two.
Yeah.
Not
And they're
gonna
around, by the way, they are around multiple times. This is not the last we see of them, which
lie.
is
Hell
kind of
yeah.
cool and fun.
Yes.
They don't add a ton, but like just it, again, always seeing them, always a pleasure.
Yeah.
No
Always a
problems
pleasure.
with me.
And just seeing Amy Sedaris is always gonna make the scene like 6 times more funny because
Yeah.
that's just straight to the funny bone, man.
Although I like Strangers with Candy well
I
enough.
see that. I see
She's
that.
not my favorite thing. Like I've never gotten super into her or David Sedaris, so brother and sister and stuff. You would kind of think it's my wheelhouse, and I'm just like not as into it as I thought I would be.
My favorite role of her is where she plays the realtor in
Oh, in Broad City.
Yeah, like that's
Oh, and
man.
Kimmy.
Oh no, no, not oh
No,
sorry,
Broad
no,
City.
it was in Broad City,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
And and I love her as, what's her name's best friend in Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Like she's just like the
Oh
tragic.
yes, yeah, yeah. The like
I
wannabe
mean,
friend. Yeah, yeah,
oh my god, she's the best. She's so
yeah.
funny. So funny.
But I love Molly Shannon. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Speaking of Catholic stuff, Mary Catherine Gallagher in the Catholic
Come
school.
on. Come on. I mean, she had to be in this episode, right? She had
Had to be.
had to be.
But I like how they're all chatty and bubbly and fast talking and stuff, and then they're like, well, all you have to do is like pick your favorite columns and write a dedication to set the tone. And which for some reason really throws Carrie for a fucking loop. Like I don't like, it's so weird. She's like,
Yeah, like the
what?
book's already written for you. Just go back, like you have everything saved in your laptop. Just go back and look at some of your favorite ones that actually
Yeah, remember that zip drive Aiden got you? Just go look at that. Well, what's throwing her for a loop is less picking the columns, but like the idea of setting the tone for
overall,
the
yeah, the
book.
overall message of the book. Yeah.
Yeah, which I'm like, I don't understand why this is like a super difficult concept for you to grasp.
because
because they have to like go through and explain it to her. They're like, yeah, is it like optimistic, or is there hope out there for us, or is like, are
right.
you feeling cynical? Like, just pick your whatever. And she finally was like, oh, and she's like, I bet hope sells better. I'll go with that. Like, yeah, girl, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean that's always going to sell better, especially when you're talking about love and relationships like
Yeah,
that. Nobody wants to hear that it's over for them if they reach a certain age or like if they never
yeah,
found love. Like, you, why would you not think? Why would you not pick hope or inspiration or something like that? Like that's just it was almost like a layup.
yeah.
What
And
people choose.
but she's and like I can't believe like how much of an existential crisis this sent her on, because then she's going through her columns and she's like, should you stop being an optimist after 30? How do you bounce back when like love batters you? What's the harm in believing? Because yeah, this obviously faith is a big theme in the episode. It's like,
Yeah,
how
well, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh well, how do you have like faith in love when you've had the kind of heartbreak
Yeah,
they've
well,
had?
that's kind of the whole point of it, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
yes, as you do get older and stuff like that, and you go through, heartbreak after heartbreak, it does, it can tend to harden you up a little bit. But like,
Mm-hmm.
I think if you still have the hope of it, you have a better chance of actually finding what you're looking for than to like be hopeless. Because then if you just like kind of give up on it or become cynical, then you're never gonna even like allow yourself like you can meet
Yeah.
the most perfect person in the world, but if you're sitting over here cynical and all pissed off and bitter, you're gonna basically push that person away because they're gonna be like, well, why am I here if you don't even really want me to
Mm-hmm.
be here? You know?
It also helps. Not fucking cheating on your boyfriend, you stupid cow.
That will help you not be cynical,
That's a big, I
Yeah,
mean,
that'll help. It'll help. It'll help. It'll
I've
help.
had my share of troubles, but I feel like not cheating will really help you find love and keep it.
Yes.
Call me
Yes.
crazy though. I
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, unless you have an open relationship, that's maybe
right.
a little different. But like, yeah, as far as what we could tell, as far as where it goes with Carrie and Aiden, like it seemed to be that they were both in the whole supposed to be the monogamous thing, and
Mm-hmm.
having sex with your ex boyfriend. Also, too, it probably doesn't help that you cheat on your boyfriend with your ex boyfriend, and then still have your ex boyfriend hanging around your current boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
That probably, I mean,
He's always
call me
going to be
crazy.
a part of your life.
Call me crazy. Call me crazy. That might help a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, because
Mm-hmm.
thinking back to that too, like the whole thing with her not being able to like marry Aiden, like you don't think that maybe the fact that you kept big in your life maybe was the reason because
Yeah.
you really didn't have any other reason like other than you just wanted big
Yeah.
because he was still there. Like I guarantee you, if she left Big alone for like more than a year, she probably would have got over him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just saying. Anywho,
So we see briefly Charlotte listening to affirmations and like writing a mirror message to herself. Now, I think, and then Carrie goes to the seminar with her and is super cynical. We are supposed to treat this like affirmation thing like it's so stupid, which is so funny to me because now everybody's all about affirmations and
yo,
manifesting.
100%, 100%. 100%.
And I
Matter of
do,
fact, down it right now, you're the piece of shit. If you're like, that's stupid.
yeah, everyone's like, oh my God, how dare you? And
Right.
I think there's a middle ground between the two. Because, like, there are people who just go all in on the manifesting thing and don't do anything,
Right.
and like, but then I have a friend who, like, she's like, look, I've got some Pinterest vision boards with some photos of like people I want to interview, certain things I aspire to. And she's like, I look at them from time to time and I update them from time to time, but she also is doing the work to get to that place. Like, and
Yeah.
she recently succeeded. She recently got a big interview she really wanted to get.
Yeah. You
And
have
it's
to.
not because and
They're
it's not
hoping
solely
for it.
because she put a picture in a
Right.
Pinterest board, but
Right.
there is something to putting it on paper or a picture or whatever helps you
Yeah.
concentrate on it
Yeah.
to really like drive it home as like that's the thing I want to do, or that and that just it's a reminder for you to keep working in that direction. I think is the
Right.
middle ground between
Not just sit there and hoping that it's gonna drop into your lap and you're
yeah,
gonna be like happy. I mean, yeah, that does happen for some people, but like it's not
yeah.
everybody. for the rest of the world who isn't blessed with like serendipitous luck like Carrie Bradshaw. You have to go work towards the shit that you really want.
She's so mean to Charlotte in this, and it's like, didn't Charlotte give you the down payment for your fucking apartment?
Yo, talk about it. Wasn't that 10 G's or something like that?
Yeah, at
It was
least.
like 10 G's.
Yeah.
Fam.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're at this seminar, and Carrie's like so snotty about it, and Charlotte's like mad because then Carrie's like, yeah, I want to go shopping for the christening gown and blah blah blah, and like I was asked to be the godmother, and she's like all flippant about it, and Charlotte's like, can't you acknowledge that some things are kind of like sacred or important to people?
Yeah, like just because. Yeah, no, yeah, 100%. I feel
It,
the same.
it is hard, like, I think we're supposed to be like, oh, Charlotte's too optimistic. She's like to the point of being silly, but it's like, no, she's not. It's Carrie's too cynical and negative, and there is, and frankly, Miranda a lot of the time too. Like,
yeah,
I can get that way, and I can be like over, pragmatic and stuff like that. But like at the same time, like I said, like I had a horrible summer and everything like that, and I've been jokingly being like, well, what's next? It's not. Things aren't looking good, but I was like, but I also have to have hope that yes, things will turn around. Things cannot stay the way they've been forever. It just, you do have to balance that. I actually like Dennis. This is a bit of a play. I haven't seen him in a while. Dennis Leary. I saw something, and it's always stuck with me. He's like, the Irish have, I think it's optimistic pessimism. You look forward to getting over the worst. And I was like, that's how I operate. I'm like, well, this thing's terrible too, but hey, we'll get over it. We'll get over the worst of it. We'll keep going, because there will always be another bad thing down the line, but you get over the thing you got now, and then you're looking forward to getting over the next worst thing. You just gotta keep on trucking, basically.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too. Like in a situation like this, it's like, it's one thing. I mean, I understand that like Carrie's not really, she's like very uncertain about the responsibility of being a godmother, but like, at least around, like, you're asking your friends like support you in your fucking dumbass articles. At least you could do is like put on a happy face and pretend that it means something to you to be a godparent, especially in front of Charlotte, who's the one who wants to be the most supportive of Miranda and the baby and everything that she's going through. Like, just be aware of your surroundings. Like, maybe don't be a pessimistic asshole around the person that's like, hurting the most that they weren't chosen.
Yeah. But Carrie kind of tries to make amends through a little riffing on the affirmations.
Yeah.
And Charlotte kind of softens and asks about the christening gown, and then the seminar is apparently like super long, but they finally get to this like Q&A thing, and some woman is like, oh, the affirmations worked, I found love. And Charlotte looks really sad, and then so she raises her hand. She's like, I was just wondering how long she did her affirmations, because I want to believe, and nothing's happened yet. And the doctor or whatever she is like, kind of gives a trite answer about like believing it, and it'll find it. And Charlotte's like, but I did find love, and it all fell apart, and I'm worried he took away my like ability to believe in love, which is so sad. Poor Charlotte. And she feels really lost. And the lady's kind of giving the same answer. She's like, well, maybe you're not really putting yourself out there.
Here's where I kind of agree with the doctor or the person on the seminar. You know what I mean? Because like, Charlotte has been out there, but like not really, right? I mean, the last few episodes that we've been watching, I mean, even before this season started, like, she's kind of like, every time they're like, hey, you should go out or you should hit on that guy, it's like nothing. Like, even with the Navy guy, like, kind of. But I mean, honestly, she wasn't putting her best foot forward, like, to date this guy. You know what I mean? So it's like, and Carrie steps up to like try to defend her. It's like, no, she's been out there. She's been, which I think was a bullshit gesture move. I think that was just her trying to like get back on Charlotte's good side.
She was trying to ease her own guilt. A dick to her. But
like, also too, I think she wasn't even really talking about Charlotte. She was talking about herself. She's like, oh, I've been out there, which neither one of them have been out there. Really.
No, Carrie's like, I'm struggling to write this column, so I'm not like, she's not going on dates. And I mean, the apps aren't big at this point by any stretch, but like, there's other ways to meet dudes, or like,
well, I mean, even in the last episode, like, she dismissed the guy because he talked shit about New York. Stop it. Come on, you're looking for reasons not to date,
because we
were doing that shit
when they were playing that one 100 game or whatever. they point out like Charlotte's more open. Like Charlotte's marked down like, oh, there's 8 dudes I would sleep with out of like the how 40 or so
Like
she's
40,
seen
yeah,
so
like 40
far.
or something like that.
And Carrie wrote down 0 because Charlotte's like, you're being too picky. And Carrie kind of is. But I like calling Charlotte like an imaginary whore. It's like we know Charlotte would never agree to sleep with 8 of those
No,
dudes.
no.
It just
But like that's the point of the game. It's all
but
imaginary. And
and
she's
to
not even
Charlotte,
being imaginary.
and
Sorry, Carrie's not even being imaginary. Like you can't
being
even
open in her imagination. Yeah,
hypothetically, like you're not even having fun hypothetically. Like,
yeah,
you're miserable right now. How are you putting yourself out there? But also too, that's another thing too. Like if you're in that mindset, you're definitely not. There's no way you can honestly believe that you're putting yourself out there and you're dating. If that's the mindset, you tell me 40 something guys pass by and you wouldn't sleep with none of them.
yeah.
Hypothetically, come on.
Yeah,
In New
like
York, you tell me you ain't seen one dude, one
right.
guy. Come on,
Yeah,
that's theoretically impossible.
it truly is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's nice that Carrie has her back. Blah 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 blah. But like you said, it's kind of it's a little hollow. But she means well.
I don't think so. That was for her. I mean, truly, I think that was for her. The way she was defending Charlotte, really, she was defending herself internally. You know what I mean? It had nothing to do with Charlotte. That just was like icing on the cake to help her smooth, like you said, alleviate some of her guilt for being a dick, hours before or however long before.
So they get to the baptism, and that's when Carrie pulls Miranda aside. Is like, are you sure you wouldn't want someone more maternal and less cynical? Because she's like, I'm not sure how I feel about the future, about anything. And Miranda's like, you're my best friend. I believe in you, and I want you to be the godmother. When we all know Charlotte really would be a better godmother. Maybe a little overbearing, but she'd be a better godmother. And then we get another terrible pun because they're going through the full ceremony and everything.
Yeah.
And
great puns in this episode.
And Carrie's holding the baby and everything, and she's like, because part of baptism is obviously water washes away sin, etc., etc. Yeah. And Carrie says, I could only hope maybe some of the water would wash away my original cynicism.
But
I hate it.
Great puns in this episode. There's a few of them. I love it.
It's a no from me, dog. I hated it. Ate it. So
I mean, to be fair, if you were kind of having a existential crisis like Carrie was, and like you had a baptism and some of the water dripped on you, you're telling me that thought wouldn't pop through your head, like not in those words.
No, that's when you go, it burns, and make everyone laugh.
Oh man. Okay, that's way better.
Right? It's way funnier.
I'd be in the pews cracking the fuck up. Everybody else probably be freaking out, but I would be rolling, son. That'd be so funny.
Go in there like Al Pacino and Devil's Advocate and touch the little holy water cistern thing while it boils and laugh. Super funny. I love it. Incidentally, not the first, Al Pacino in a Catholic church by any means. Obviously, the big one that people tend to think of is from the original Godfather, is one that he's having everybody and their brother whacked while he's having, I think it's the christening of his niece or something like that. I forget which kid. So good. And like, do you renounce Satan? Yes. Raised dead because they had everybody whacked. It gets no love, but and I don't think it's available anywhere. Did you ever see the movie Mafia with Jay Moore?
Yes!
The parody thing?
Yes!
I actually thought it was really funny.
Hell yeah, I saw that. That shit was hilarious.
And one of my favorite joke, though, is at the end, because they in the original Godfather, Diane Keaton gets shut out of the room, and I think she does confront Michael. I forget what. Or Al Pacino, I forget, but she confronted. She have all those people killed, and then it's the whole thing. But in the parody one, the thing that made me laugh so hard was she's like, "Did you have all those people killed?" And he just goes, "No," and she goes, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
She's all relieved and she just leaves. It's so fucking funny because it's Christina Applegate too, and she's amazing. So she just nails it, and I love like the fucking with the dramatic confrontation. Like,
Yeah, man, dude. Yeah,
everybody
Mafia
killed.
was highly underrated
Mafia
character.
is really funny.
Yeah.
And then also I love Lloyd Bridges. He was great in the parody stuff. And he has my other favorite line is they do the like Luca Brasi sleeps with the fishes thing, and he just goes, "Oh, he should wear a condom." He just delivers it so smooth. It's so fucking funny.
The best way to
Oh,
deliver it. Deliver it
love
as a
it.
matter of fact instead of deliver it as jokey. It's always you're
Yeah,
always
just
gonna win. You're always gonna win.
yeah. um so yes, and then at the very end, Carrie decides to dedicate her book to single women everywhere, and one in particular, the eternal optimist Charlotte, which is nice of Carrie to do.
I'll take yeah. I mean that part was like probably more sincere than
Yeah.
what we spoke about earlier. So I'll give her that much.
Yeah.
That's all I'm giving her though.
That's
No
all
more.
she's getting.
No
All
more.
she's getting.
No more.
Speaking of getting, hey, let's go on to Samantha.
My girl. First of all, hilarious how she breaks the news to everybody.
Yeah.
She was like they're all ordering their meals, and as she orders hers, she's like, "Oh, by the way, I'm back in Richmond. Anyway, I'm gonna have a hot salad. Appreciate it, thank you."
And I love
just weave it on in your order.
another excellent Charlotte moment, which was so funny because
Oh my
she's
God.
talking to them about it, and she's like, I'm more, I
Yes.
worried about it, and Charlotte goes, yeah, because he did, and then she does the eat out gesture, complete with tongue and everything, and they are all like, whoa.
Yeah. Because he. No lie, I was shocked too. I was like, no, she did.
You're like,
I was like, oh, she did do that. She did that. Charlotte did like the full on like, and she didn't do it like beauty either. It was aggressive. Like, yeah, it was like how like teenage boys did it back in the time. It was like, like, whoa. Time out, B. Time out.
Yeah, Charlotte.
Oh man.
Settle down, lady. But apparently Richard told Samantha he got scared, and Samantha's like, the girls all say like don't get back with him, and she's like, I'm okay, I'm confident he won't be distracted, and she's like, but I also accept that he does get distracted by other women.
This is the part that I'm like, okay, I know a lot of people don't like it, but like that's truly kind of understanding men in that way, right? Because like, yes, you're looking, okay, this guy is not a regular dude. Like he's very rich, very successful, very powerful. Women are coming after him all the time. And like it's like basically she's with a celebrity right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's with a celebrity, you know what I mean? And it's like, I think if you're a girl or a person who's dating a celebrity, it almost kind of comes with the understanding that like, you may not like it, but like, they're probably going to first of all, every man wants to have sex with more than one woman. Like, that's just like how we're designed. But like, he actually has the option to do it because of his status, because of his money, because of his influence. And so women are going to be doing this stuff. So it's like, my only problem with it is like, to me, is the only thing he did wrong was that he should have established this desire from the get-go. Because I think if you would establish it from the start of their relationship, being like, look, I love you, you're my girl, but I also want to have sex with other women from time to time. Not all the time, but from time to time, like out of town, you won't ever have to hear about it, some shit like that. Like,
he kind of tried to, though. He was up front when they were first kind of feeling each other out, and he was like, I'm not monogamous, and I'm not.
Yeah, that's true.
That's not my thing. But then I think because she kind of wouldn't commit, sort of, that like chase thing was like, I'm wanting what I can't have, and although they were having sex the whole time, so it's not. But but there was still something that he wanted.
No, because here's why. That's why. But you're still right about what you're saying, because it wasn't about the sex that he.
Right.
It's not what he. It was the idea.
The emotions.
Not even the emotion. It was. I don't even think it was the emotions, unfortunately. But it really was the fact that it was like a conquest kind of thing.
Yeah.
She wasn't, because she wasn't committing, she wasn't giving all of herself to him, and that makes him uncomfortable as a person who's used to being the power seat in all situations. And that's what inspired him to be like, all right, we're gonna try monogamy because I want to make sure that you're not giving yourself out to anybody else, even though I'm out here still sleeping with them. Because like it is just sex. That's why I'm saying, because like with men, it's just sex, and so it's just a physical thing. But he wants all of her because like, he wants her to be his main girl. So therefore, if she's like not committing, then what is he like? She's basically like every other one, and he didn't want her to be every other one.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So they're talking later, and she's like, my friends aren't sure about this, and he's like, look, I'm not dating your friends, so I kind of don't give a fuck what they have to say.
I fuck with that. I fuck with that. I fuck with that big time. Like, here's the thing. I understand where the ladies are coming from, but also like you're not in the situation. So if Samantha says she's comfortable with it, then let her be comfortable with it. It's not up to you to be like, well, that's just not right. Because okay, that's not how you want to live your life. That's fine. But like, if nobody's getting hurt, what do you care?
Yeah, I understand their trepidation about like worrying about their friend getting hurt, but if your part of your role as friend is like to be there to catch her if she does fall and it's bad, like you don't necessarily have to approve, but like he's at least got to like understand that she's doing what she's doing, and just sort of be there, be willing to be there for her. I would get it more if it was like this was like Samantha constantly makes this mistake and is like stupid, and like because you can run into that with your girlfriends where you're like,
but the difference between Samantha's situation is not, and I feel if anybody should be understanding about her going back to Richard, Carrie should be shutting the fuck up so hard. Like she shouldn't even be giving a dirty look or nothing. She should basically walk out the restaurant so she don't judge, because of all the bullshit that Samantha has supported you through, you need to be the most silent. You should have taken your tongue out your mouth and thrown it out the damn door. There's no reason for you to be flapping your gums. No reason, bro. Like Samantha's been there through so much bullshit between you and Big, you and Aiden, and you and Big again. Like, shut up, please. You have no legs to stand up. None. You on the floor, no table, no leg.
But Richard gives Samantha this ring box, and then Samantha starts to freak out, like, oh my god, is this an engagement ring? And he's like, whoa.
I thought it was too. I was like, no, bro.
He's like, whoa, do not panic. It is a ring for her middle finger. He's like, so I can see it if you had to flip me off again. And it is a massive yellow diamond. Like,
massive.
Woo! It's huge.
I mean, and I was talking because I know somebody. I know this Russian girl. She deals in diamonds. A diamond. I mean, I don't know what that would go for at that time, because money was a little bit different back then. But a diamond like that, if it's pure, like no flaws and shit like that, I mean, you're talking like $5 million.
Wow.
Right now, a rock that big. I mean, because hell, even some that are like, I don't know if you see how big my hand, but some of them like that small be going for like $2 million.
Yeah.
So like that rock has to be at least 5 to 6. So I don't know what that time is back then, but I'm going to say at least $2 million he spent on that ring, because then you also got the little diamonds that are around it.
Yeah.
The ring itself. So I mean, we're probably talking 2 or 3 at the time that he broke out on her.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, you want to apologize, dude, with 2 or 3 million. Yeah, it's get apology. I'm not gonna lie. Like, even I'd be like, I mean, I ain't want to be bought, but like, damn. But like, damn, I ain't never had nobody spend that much kind of money.
Right? Like, oh my.
How can I say no to this?
Yeah. And it's a brief scene, but Carrie and Samantha are talking about taking a quick walk, and Carrie's like unsure about the book, and Samantha, of course, wisely advised, like, take the fucking opportunity, you fucking dingus.
I mean,
but then we get another good look at the ring. And
here's the thing: you're like Samantha again is the best supporter. Like, also too, bitch, you are scared that you're about to lose your job and an opportunity gets dropped on you, and you're still complaining.
Yeah,
you're still whining about it. I would fight her, honestly. If I was Samantha, I would just punch her. I'd be like, I just punch you. I must have to punch you, because there's no reason that you should be whining about. No, like it. Shut up.
Yeah, shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up. You have to be a fucking. You're about to be an author, like
Yeah,
from an article that you wrote
from
about bullshit
shit
about
you
dating.
already wrote. You don't have
Yeah.
to. You have to write
Yeah.
like
You don't
at
even need to go
most.
search material. You got the material. It's
You
right
have to
there.
write like 500 words of an introduction to
At best.
shit you already wrote, and they're gonna publish a whole ass book of it. Like,
How, like,
what?
I mean, you got the goose that laid the golden egg, and you're pissed off that the eggs are
Yeah.
gold instead of silver. Shut up! Shut up!
Okay.
Oh my god, she's
Yeah.
the worst. How? Again, I know I say this every episode, but why are there women that's like, "Oh, I'm such a Carrie"? That means you're the worst. You're the worst, most toxic woman on the planet. Go get help.
Absolutely. And then we get what do you call it? Oh, where's my note about it? Anyway? Sorry, Samantha's out with Richard, and she keeps making the eating out hand gesture. She does that in the earlier scene with the diamond, and
Yeah.
she does it again at the restaurant. And he's like, "You know that doesn't make me feel guilty, and it's actually turning me on, right?" Like that cracked me up. I laughed so hard because I love the way he delivered it. He's like, that's not doing what you're thinking it's doing. Like, I'm really horny for you now. Like, I don't feel ashamed.
Like, first of all, I mean, listen, in a way, you could take that as a bad thing that he doesn't feel shame, but like, he just dropped $2 to $3 million. So I think his guilt is gone. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
listen, 2-3 mil that buys me no guilt. Okay, I think you know that I can laugh at.
Yeah.
We can laugh at this now. Like,
Yeah. So they sit down, have dinner, and he's like, I'm just making sure we're okay. And she's like, yep, we're okay. She's like, but you're coming to the baptism, and it's gonna be all day, and it's gonna be boring as hell. And he's like, all right. And he's doing the good boyfriend thing. He's like, I said I would do this right, and like he's gonna do it. And then a super hot lady walks by, and he does not flinch, break eye contact, and she's sort of like, all right, a little uncertain still, but she's like, okay, we can work with this. We can work with this.
Well, also too, got to give kudos to Samantha. I almost said Amanda. Samantha, because like after he said that little gesture was turning him on, she stopped doing it. She's like,
yeah, she was like, oh, this is backfiring in a big way.
Heard you. You're not getting it no more.
Yeah.
Kudos to her. She's like, all right. I'm gonna get. You're gonna get this punishment, no matter which way it comes. So, yeah, I fucked with her on that one.
And he's a solid soldier. He shows up to the baptism with Samantha, and he even says like one of the like recitations is Lord, hear our prayer, and then even the parish says Lord, hear our prayer, and she's like, oh, you know this one? Basically, she's pretty surprised. And when they're doing the holy water with Brady, she's like, there's not enough holy water to cleanse you, and they're like laughing about it. It's good times. And then I do like at the very end of that, that's the after party, and they're leaving, and Richard does go to Miranda, and he's like, for the record, yes, I was scared, and and I like how Miranda's like, I don't fucking care right now, but okay, thanks for telling me. I mean, to his credit, he's trying to do right. Like,
yeah, I think that was not necessarily, and here's where I think like the difference between what Carrie did at the seminar and what he was doing. I think he wasn't really doing that for himself. He was doing that for Samantha, so they would back off of her and let her. He was like, "Look, I fucked up. That's on me. But you can't like y'all can't keep coming at Samantha telling her that she can't be with me.
She's not the one who made the mistake. I did.
Yeah, I made the mistake. Yeah, and I'm gonna atone for it, and you guys got to back off. Like this is our relationship, not yours. So I respect that move, honestly. You know what I mean? And I think that's why Miranda kind of shrugged it off and like rolled her eyes because it was kind of a power move.
Yeah.
She, likes the power in relationships. So
And they watch Samantha and Richard leave, and Miranda's kind of like, yeah, whatever. And Charlotte's like, I hope they work it out, because Charlotte's a nice person, an optimist. She tries.
I mean, I think that's why Charlotte is the one that ends up like the happiest, because like she's always had that like positive, like it's gonna happen no matter what. I ain't worried about it. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? I love it.
And they you can be over optimistic and like toxically positive and everything like that, but there is something to like, finding the good, finding like the joy or or even the humor. Like that's, what's gotten me through the frankly worst years of my life, from cancer to the family health thing and all these things. Like you have to, because if you only like stay in the cynical and the negative and all that, it is legit bad for you. Like
Yeah,
they,
yeah. I mean, they say that kind of like energy kind of brings that like negativity towards you. Like the
yeah,
more the more negative you are in your thinking, like it brings more negative things upon you because you're kind of like drawing that in. And I don't know if there's any like necessarily scientific proof to that, but I do feel there is like that's kind of like, I guess for lack of better words, like a spiritual truth to that, because like
yeah,
when you're in your worst, it gets worse, worse, and worse. But then like as soon as something positive happens and you actually like dive into that positivity, more positive shit starts to kind of happen around you. You know what I mean? As long as, well, not maybe out every time, but I think it does. You know what I mean?
and it's better to try that than like only pull in the negative, like
Yeah.
it's,
I mean, yeah. Like, even if you don't believe it, just fucking try it.
yeah.
Just wake up and just smile all day and see what happens. I guarantee your day will be a lot better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For sure.
Speaking of smiling, we've ended this episode with a smile. You can find us most easily on the internet at
Yeah.
Show Me What Podcast on Instagram, and
Yeah.
that will take you to all the other places to find us. And then I'm at Elizabeth Movies on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And Chris, where can they find you?
You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and that's pretty much the only social media I use. Oh, Twitter at Christopher T Mack on Twitter. You guys are subscribing. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're seeing.
We're at 211. You know what I mean? You guys are building. Keep on subscribing, keep on watching. I really
Yeah,
appreciate it. We're almost at 1,000 views on this week's episodes, or last week if you're watching
yeah,
this week's episode. So it's you guys are supporting. I appreciate it, man. You guys, I know we've been saying like and subscribe, and you guys are doing it,
you
and I
guys are
appreciate
doing it. Yeah,
it. You guys are doing it. Oh, also be sure to check out Arlo Australia on Instagram,
mm-hmm.
ARLO_Australia. Get yourself some candles, some reed diffusers, and some bath bombs, and you can use our code Show Me Miss at checkout, and they'll get you
Yep,
10% off.
worth
Especially to
it.
support us. It's worth it. Trust me. The candle on deck right now. About to light it. About to smell real good before I leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it for us. We will see you again next week.